Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So today's video is going to be my review on the Narciso Rodriguez perfume house, and we have here 6 from the For Her line and then 6 of the cubes. So this house is kind of known for its musk. Now a lot of fragrances have musk in them, but if you've ever smelled the Narciso Rodriguez fragrances, you kind of know what their musk is. And when I was researching, I noticed that most of them, if not pretty much all of them, have musk, but they also have a vetiver or cedar note, but a lot of them have that white cedar extract note. So I don't know if that's the combo that kind of makes this house have a thing, because a lot of fragrance houses, they tend to have something that make them smell kind of like them. They have like a signature. So with this house, it's definitely a musky signature scent. This is also a very minimalistic, kind of clean perfume house. If you look at the designer himself, he likes very minimalistic, chic, classy, not only clothes like in his designs, but you can see that in his fragrances as well as like the bottle designs. They're all very clean and simple, and you can also smell that with all the fragrances. Just know that a lot of these fragrances are floral, woody musks, and they all are kind of similar that way. But if you're into kind of powdery, musky fragrances, you might want to check out this house. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the cubes first because I really enjoy the For Her fragrances, and I do find these to be a little bit more different, and a lot of the cubes kind of smell very similar to me. So the first fragrance we are gonna go over is Narciso, and this is the Eau de Parfum, and this was released in 2014, and this has top notes of gardenia, white rose, middle notes of musk, and then base notes of white cedar extract, cedar, and vetiver. This one smells a lot like the first 3 I'm gonna go over. So this one out of the 3, when it opens up, you do get a very clean white floral that's in here. But from the beginning of this scent, you get a powdery musk. This one's clean, fresh, and then when it dries down, there is something in here that's kind of creamy. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but there is something a little creamy and lactonic in this one. And then I would say out of the first few I'm gonna mention, I get more floral musk, and then there's kind of a woodiness in the background. This one doesn't get overly woody to me as the next one I'm gonna go over. But you do kind of get a slight woodiness in the dry down. This is more clean, powdery, white floral, musky, creamy, woody scent. And again, that is Narciso, the Eau de Parfum. Okay, then next we have Narciso, the Eau de Toilette, and this one was released in 2015. And just so you could see them side by side, it's like kind of a creamy white and then a black in this one. This one, to me, where that one leans more white, this one leans more red pink because of the florals that are in this one. Yeah, this one has rose and peony, but the rose in there, I don't know if it's because it's the white rose that's in the Eau de Parfum. That one definitely comes off more white floral, and this one has more of a rosiness to it. So the Eau de Toilette, this one has top notes of Bulgarian rose, peony, middle notes of musk, and then base notes of white cedar extract, cedar, and vetiver. I do get more of the woodiness in this one. I'm not sure if it's because something about that one is a little bit more creamy, so I don't really get the woods too much. That one's definitely more powdery to my nose. This one's musky. It's got a slight powderiness, but as it dries down, I get more of the kind of rosy, woody, musky notes in this one. These are fragrances that, although they're not like powerhouse or like beast mode fragrances, they melt into my skin and I smell them the next day. I would say the first one, the Eau de Parfum, and the next one especially, they are next day fragrances. They're just fragrances that sit closer to you, but if someone gets in your area, like I've hugged family members and dentists, and they've all noticed these fragrances. They kind of all say the same thing. Oh, you smell clean, or you smell powdery. So if you don't like powdery, I wouldn't say baby powder, because I don't like baby powder fragrances, but these are kind of your powdery, I don't want to say dated or vintage, but there is something about the powder in these fragrances that can come off a little more vintage. And for that reason, people have said that these fragrances don't work out for them because they're a little mature. I'm 40 though, so I like these fragrances. Now, I have enjoyed this house since my early 30s, but I will say that I do hear that people say it smells like someone going to church or someone's grandma. You guys know I don't really use those terms. This does smell a little bit more on the ultra feminine, mature side, a lot of these. This one, I would say, is a little bit more woody, in my opinion. Like, it's not overly powdery like the Eau de Parfum and the next one I'm going to go over. But again, that's Narciso, the Eau de Toilette. Okay, then next we have Narciso Poudree. And this one was released in 2016, and this one has top notes of jasmine, Bulgarian rose, orange blossom, middle notes of musk, and then base notes of cedar, vetiver, and patchouli. Now, this one, to me, again, they smell like the first two, but this one's a little bit more sweet, a little bit more creamy. This is a sweet, powdery, clean, musky scent. So I would say out of the first three, because I do find these to be, again, very similar, but if you just want one, you want something slightly woody and rosy, but again, soft, powdery, and musky, I would say go for the Eau de Toilette. You want something a little bit more clean and white floral. The gardenia in here isn't sharp. Gardenia can give me a headache, but again, the powdery and the musk and just everything from this house is blended very, very well. I would say go for Narciso, the Eau de Parfum. And if you want something that still smells like this, but maybe you found the gardenia to be sharp, I don't find it to be sharp, but if you did find the white florals in there to be a little too sharp and you want something a little bit more creamy and sweet, I would say go for Poudree. All of these are clean, musky scents. Next, we have Narciso Rouge, the Eau de Parfum, and this one was released in 2018, and this comes in this beautiful red bottle, and I do think that they do a really good job of the design. They keep all the designs very similar, and then they change like the bottle color to me to kind of represent what you're getting. This is a little bit more on the fun side. This does remind me of kind of red pumps and red lips. Yeah, you still get that famous musk, but this is a little bit more powdery on the makeup side. A little bit more of that makeup-y powder. I don't really get like that lipstick vibe because I do find them to be different. This is more like when you think of a compact, like a makeup compact, that's kind of what I get. But this has top notes of iris, Bulgarian rose, middle notes of musk, and then base notes of tonka bean, vanilla, white cedar extract, cedar, sandalwood, and vetiver. This has a slight creaminess from the sandalwood. You do get that musky, woody base, that famous musk, but I really get the iris. It comes off a little bit like, again, that kind of powdery makeup. We'll say this one's the fun one. This one is, again, kind of your red lip, red pump, still clean and classic. I find this line to be very chic and classy, but that's the slight difference with this one. And again, this is Narciso Rouge, the Eau de Parfum. Okay, then in 2019, the Eau de Toilette was released. So just so you can see the differences, this one has the clear top, and then the Eau de Parfum is solid red with the solid red top, and then Narciso in black. So this one doesn't list, at least not in the notes that I pulled, this one doesn't list iris, but I still get that powdery kind of makeup vibe, but this one's more powdery and a little clean. This was one that I put on, and I gave Dennis a hug, and he goes, oh, you smell clean and powdery. And usually Dennis is like me, he doesn't like that kind of baby powder scent. And I'm like, in a bad way, like, do I smell like baby powder? And he's like, no, you smell clean, like soapy. So this one to me is a little bit more fresh than the Eau de Parfum. It's a little bit more powdery and fresh, like out of the shower. This kind of just gives me this sense of being freshly showered and clean, and like I put some body powder, but not baby powder, because I really don't like the way that smells. When this dries down, I do get something kind of sweet, but this isn't as sweet as I would say like Poudree. Like, to me, that one's the sweetest from the line. This one to me is more clean, fresh, with a slight vanilla touch and musky in the base. And again, that is Narciso, the Eau de Toilette. So the last of the cubes is Narciso Ambree. And this one was released in 2020, and it's in this really pretty kind of pale coral color. And this has top notes of frangipani, ylang ylang, white flower, middle notes of musk and amber, and then base notes of cashmere and vanilla and cedar. So this one does start to kind of deviate a little bit, but you still get that musk and cedar. So there's still that Narciso musk, but this is if Narciso went to the beach. This is if you took fragrances, that kind of suntan fragrance like Beach Walk and Sun de Jeulia. Also, Clean has one, I think it's called The Beach, where you kind of have like that suntan, sun-kissed skin with a slight saltiness. But this one has that famous Narciso musk. So it's very pretty and airy, and it's got something slightly different from those other scents. Like, I have quite a few of those fragrances now, and I will say they all have something different. Like, my Sun de Jeulia is a little bit more sweet, warm, and amber. And then I would say Beach Walk by Replica is your most realistic. Pretty much you've slapped on suntan oil, you took a dip in the water, and then you've come out and it's the sun hitting your salty skin with that suntan. It's the most simplest and the most kind of realistic. This one has a powdery, musky twist to it. So if you found kind of Replica's Beach Walk to be a little bit like, I could just put on suntan oil and take a dip in the ocean, and you want something that has just a little bit more going on, I would say check out AMBRE, because this one has that musky, powdery twist, but it's not overly musky, or no, I shouldn't say that. This one's musky. This one isn't overly powdery like these other ones. The powderiness in here is kind of mixed in with something that's coming off a little, I don't want to say salty, but there is something beachy about this one. It's yellow floral, it's kind of warm and slightly tropical, but without being overdone. Those fragrances are a little too much to you, a little too suntan. I would say check this one out. This one's softer, musky, and slightly powdery, so it kind of softens that scent profile quite a bit. So again, that is Narciso Ambree. Okay, so next we are gonna get into the For Her line. And I really enjoy this line. I find these to be, again, like the cubes, similar, but they have more differences, especially the two newest releases. So first up is Narciso Rodriguez For Her, the Eau de Toilette. This is the first fragrance from the Perfume house. So if you guys have been watching my channel for some time, you might know that this was my wedding day fragrance. I wore this for my wedding in 2010, and I wouldn't say it's my favorite anymore. It's still one that I do enjoy wearing, especially now that my wedding anniversary is coming up. It is very unique. This is a fragrance that Dennis really likes on me. If he smells this on a card, he says it smells like a bed of old flowers. So this is definitely a scent that when it mixes with my body chemistry, it does smell different. It smells less like flowers and more like a clean, musky, woody fragrance. But Narciso Rodriguez For Her, the Eau de Toilette, has top notes of African orange flower, osmanthus, and bergamot, and then middle notes of musk, amber, and then base notes of vetiver, vanille, and patchouli. So when this opens up, there is a very soft citrus, and that's coming from the African orange flower as well as the bergamot. And then as this dries down, you start to get the musk, and you start to get kind of the vetiver. The patchouli in here isn't overly strong, but there is something earthy without it being overly earthy. It's more like earthy kind of undertones in here. Very unique, and again, kind of just a clean, musky scent. And again, that is Narciso Rodriguez for Her, the Eau de Toilette. Okay, and then next we have Narciso Rodriguez for Her, the Eau de Parfum. And I do have a travel, but I have owned a couple bottles of this one. I prefer the black bottle, but I like to have this one in my collection. So I ended up getting a travel. This is very similar to the Eau de Toilette, but to me it's more rosy, it's a little softer. There's something slightly creamy about this one that kind of softens this one up. But this one has top notes of rose, peach, middle notes of musk, amber, and base notes of patchouli and sandalwood. Probably the sandalwood that's giving me that kind of creamy, woody base. But you definitely get the rose, and there is something kind of sweet, which is probably the peach, but it doesn't come off fruity to my nose. It's very blended in here. It's almost a little fuzzy. And then you get the musk. I don't really get a warmth. To me, this is just a very clean, rosy, slightly sweet, musky, kind of creamy, woody scent. And it's really nice, which is why I did decide to keep a travel of it. But I don't know, there's just something about this one that's unique and special to me. So again, that is Narciso Rodriguez for Her, the Eau de Parfum. So next we have Fleur Musc for Her. And this one, like the first three I'm gonna go over, they all the first four are pretty similar. This one has a slight soft spiciness. I actually didn't like this one when I first hauled it, but now I really like this one. This one has pink pepper, I think it's the pink pepper. Middle notes of rose, musk, peony, and then base notes of patchouli, violet, and amber. There's just something dewy and more fresh about this one. This one's got something dewy, like when you think of like drops on rose petals. And the rose in here is a little bit more pink to my nose. But this was one that, again, when I first hauled it, I actually had a decant of it first, and then I got this one. I was testing out that decant like 2 years ago when I got it, and I didn't like it. And then I saw this set of 3, and I wanted it for the video, so I went ahead and bought it, and I put already a little bit of a dent in it, and I actually like this one now. This one's just, I would say, more of a modern rose. Like the rose in here is a little bit more of your realistic kind of vintage rose. This one's more of that modern, fresh rose. A little bit more pink. It's dewy. There's something slightly soft, spicy. The pink pepper in here is very blended, so it's just got this very soft spiciness, but this one's like translucent and dewy. It's just a very dewy, rosy, musky scent, and that kind of dewiness softens the musk even more. So this one also isn't overly powdery to my nose. But again, that is Fleur Musc for Her. Okay, this one, I actually blind bought a large bottle of this one. This was definitely like a YouTube made me buy it, but this is Pure Musk for Her. This one actually didn't work out for me. I mean, it smells really nice on the card, but on my skin, I pulled a lot of the florals, and it came off slightly like very clean, because that's what I wanted. A lot of people said that this was a beautiful, clean, white, musky floral scent, but this pulled very, very like vintage white florals on my skin. This has notes of musk, white flowers, and cashmere. This is a very simple, clean scent, but the white florals on my skin almost came off a little dusty. But this is one that was very popular. Again, in 2019 is when I saw it, and this was released in 2019. I just realized that. But I saw this a lot, and I went ahead and blind bought a larger bottle and ended up passing it on because it was just a little too white floral for me. And the florals might not come off dusty to you or on your skin, but as this dried down, it just didn't go with my skin. And again, the florals in here didn't smell clean and fresh like in the opening. When this dried down, the florals came off a little bit more dusty on my skin. It is a nice one to layer with. I know this has become like a layering fragrance for a lot of people. So this one is Pure Musk for Her. Then we have the two latest releases. These are like, as of now, my favorite. So first we have Musc Noir for Her. This is actually my scent of the day. So I'm just gonna go ahead and refresh. So this, I would say, in the next one, I don't get that famous Narciso musk as much. It's there, but it's off in the background, where it tends to be more in the forefront in all of these fragrances. I feel like these two new releases, it's not as strong. So this has top notes of plum, middle notes of musk, heliotrope, and then base notes of leather. But everything is blended so well in here. Like, I don't smell this and pick up like a leather note, but there is something in here that's kind of like, when you think of leather, there is something in here, but it doesn't smell like other fragrances that have a leather note. Like, it just almost adds to this fragrance and gives it kind of a soft leathery feel without it smelling overly leather. So if you're one that doesn't like leather in your fragrances, I would still say test this out, because it doesn't smell like a leather purse or a leather, like leather seats. It just adds something, almost the way suede kind of smooths some fragrances out and doesn't necessarily smell like suede. Like, some fragrances, they do have that kind of scent to it. This is almost the feel of leather. And then the plum in here, I don't smell this and can pick out plum, but it does lean more on a darker fruit kind of side. And then there's something kind of watery and translucent about this one as well. This one also has something very soft and nutty that's probably coming from the heliotrope, but this one's really nice and soft between the next one and this one. Like, you can overspray this one and it doesn't become like overdone. I will say that it's softer. This has really good longevity. I wore this yesterday to kind of refresh my memory because it had been a while, but I did test this one out, as you can see. And I wore it last night, and when I woke up, still smell it on my skin. Definitely was more of a skin scent. I had to put my nose to skin, but it was something that was there. But again, that is a Musc Noir for Her. All right, and then last we have Musc Noir Rose, and this is probably one of my favorites at the moment. This is one, we're just gonna mix them. Oh my goodness. This one's definitely more spicier, and the plum in here is a little bit more of a juicy plum. This one has top notes of plum, pink pepper, bergamot, middle notes of musk, rose, tuberose, and then base notes of vanilla. This is one you can wear year round, but this is definitely more night and fall. But what's nice about this one is you can wear this one in the Florida heat. Like, this gives me a very fall feeling. But I can wear this one in Florida where it's really, really hot. Because a lot of fall fragrances that, to me, just give me that cozy vibe, I have to be careful with if it's one that I prefer in the cold weather, because it doesn't get cold here in fall. Yeah, this one is more spicy. It's not translucent like the first Musc Noir. This one is a slightly deeper scent, but it's deep, but in a sensual, soft way. and that one to me is more translucent. So I still get the DNA. This one's rosier, this one's spicier, and it's slightly more sensual and deeper than the other Musc Noir. It definitely gives me more of that kind of noir vibe. This has a way of being very deep and sexy and sensual, but without being overdone or in your face. Very sexy, and this was another one that Dennis pointed out. This one, like the regular Musc Noir, you get like a dark fruit, but I almost feel like I could get the plum a little bit more. Like when I smelled this one, I was like, okay, yeah, I get the plum note a little bit more. This one does open up kind of like that one, slightly animalic on my skin. I like to say on my skin because not everyone gets that. Goes away, then you get this soft, spicy, rosy, kind of plummy, dark, sensual, sexy scent. Like the first Musc Noir, the musk in here is off in the background. This doesn't have that strong Narciso musk. It's there, but it's very much in the background. And I wonder if they do that because these fragrances, it's a type, like it draws in a certain type of person. So I would say if the Narciso fragrances did not work out for you, you might want to check out these two newer releases, because again, the musk is there, but it's definitely not how it is in these other fragrances. It's more off in the background, and it's not that strong signature Narciso musk. Like it's there if you know it and you're looking for it. So again, that is a Musc Noir Rose. So I'm not gonna rank all these, but I did want to give you my top 3. This one falling in 3rd place, Musc Noir being in 2nd place, and Musc Noir Rose being in 1st. I've fallen in love with rose. I never used to like rose because growing up, a lot of the rose fragrances were a little bit more vintage, but now I really love rosy perfumes. So those are my top 3. I don't really have a bottom 3. I like all of the fragrances, even Pure Musk. I just don't like the way the dry down is for me on this one, and that's why I opted for just a travel. But I do layer with this one. It lays down kind of a clean base. A little bit of this goes a long way, so this is perfect for me. But I really enjoy this line, but you kind of have to be into the note of musk to like or appreciate this house. So let me know in the comments below, do you guys have any of these fragrances? What are your favorites? But that will do it for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye guys.